This is the first premier trade exhibition and dynamic platform dedicated to the entire nursing ecosystem.
There's really a critical gap wherein nurses actually have received fragmented information. Our goal is very simple. Platform to present all the information, all the opportunities, all the pathways, everything related to the nursing ecosystem will be there. Registration is free because we intend this event for nurses themselves and we don't want them to pay anything. We're not limiting this to registered nurses. We're also inviting nursing students, even families and relatives of nurses and nursing students, because they can actually be exposed to all of the possibilities firsthand.
Hey everybody, Edric here, and welcome to a new arm of the Epic podcast. And this is known as Epic Events. Thanks so much for joining us. If you are a business leader, a business owner who's actually looking for events in the region, this is the podcast for you. In this episode is the Nursing Opportunities Worldwide Ecosystem Expo 2026, shortened as NOW Expo Asia 2026. This is the first premier trade exhibition and dynamic platform dedicated to the entire nursing ecosystem. So if you're in the medical field, especially we're talking about registered nurses, healthcare, and the healthcare systems, you have to take note of this one. It's going to be held in June 2026 in Manila, Philippines. NOW Expo is going to have a comprehensive, trusted ecosystem that delivers accurate knowledge, verified networks, and genuine career connections. So here we have a key member of the NOW Expo 2026 team, my good friend Christine Lasig. Christine, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you, Edric, for inviting us.
All right, give us a quick introduction of yourself first.
My name's Christine Lasig, and I'm actually the head of the community ecosystem for Nurture RN, and we are the organizer for NOW Ecosystem Asia 2026. NOW Expo Asia will be held on June 26 to 27, 2026, and this will be at the SM Megamall Trade Hall 1. For those who may not know, Nurture RN is actually a Singapore-based nurse-centric ecosystem enabler for nurses.
Okay, thanks so much for that. Before we start unpacking the event features, every time we do an event, it's always about a problem that we're trying to solve. There's an exhibition there or there's a conference. There is a problem we're trying to solve. We spoke about this offline and I found it compelling that we needed to have this on the podcast. Please tell us what the problem is and what this expo is aimed at solving.
Yes, of course. So I've been working with the nursing community. I've been with Nurture and for 3 years, and they've been in the company for 5 years. So all throughout these years, we have recognized a critical gap in how nurses and the entire healthcare ecosystem actually connect and share information. Otherwise, there's really a gap, a critical gap wherein nurses actually have received fragmented information or information taken out of context. So there's really a big space, especially for Filipino nurses who get scammed because in the age of social media, there's a lot of information out there, but not all actually take time to check if it's credible. So that was what we've heard a lot of times. It's either they got scammed or they did get to another place, they went to another country. However, the conditions of their contract was not the same. So we wanted actually initially to create an event where this can be addressed for nurses who are looking for opportunities outside of the country, the Philippines. But then again, when we actually thought about it, we were planning it, why not make the whole ecosystem present? Because not all nurses want to go outside of the Philippines to work. But then again, we realized that there has not been an event specific to nurses and the ecosystem that they hold. I mean, nurses are actually, the Philippines is the top exporter for nurses. But then again, we feel as if they need to be valued. So we created this event specifically for their ecosystem to be there for them in one.
Is this going to be an event whereby we're just going to see registered nurses and is it a job fair?
No. Okay, I have to be very clear. This is not a recruitment event. Our goal is very simple. Platform to present all the information, all the opportunities, all the pathways, everything related to the nursing ecosystem will be there present. So of course, there will be placement recruitment agencies. There will be recruiters. There will be employers, hospitals. There will also be schools. There will be, everything in the ecosystem. But then again, it's not limited to being just for recruitment because this isn't anyway.
Right, right. So that's the thing, right? I mean, I wanted to put it out there because I know that this is not going to be a job fair. This is really about
Yes.
supporting the ecosystem, supporting the registered nurses. Would it be fair to say that this is also an event whereby if if I were part of this ecosystem, I'd be able to not just invest in the nurses, but I also be able to leverage on the connections I could forge at that event as well. Could you tell me a little bit more about this ecosystem?
Yes, of course. I totally agree. Edric, I'd also have to add first that this is not just for the registered nurses. So the attendees, I'd have to highlight registration is free because we intend this event for nurses themselves and we don't want them to pay anything because this information should actually be coming to them free.
Oh, this is free. It's not gated.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes, not at all. And also, we're not limiting this to registered nurses. We're also inviting nursing students and
Mm,
even families and relatives of nurses and nursing students because here in the Philippines, they're actually included in decision making.
wow.
So for nursing students, as young as they are, they can actually be exposed to all of the possibilities firsthand. So as early as first year college or even senior high school, when they're really adept at taking the nursing degree, they can actually see and plan their future ahead. So that I'd have to make that clear. But then again, to answer your question, the ecosystem for nurses, as we realized, is vast. Of course, there's the direct ecosystem stakeholders. Who are they? They are the leaders and employers shaping the future of care. Hospitals, clinics, and even BPOs. Because the BPO industry here in the Philippines for nurses is also quite high. There's also local and international academic institutions who want to advance nursing education. Again, we also have to highlight that we are offering both local and international opportunities because there is. Usually, when nurses here in the Philippines, I'm not quite sure in other countries, but nurses in the Philippines, a big fraction of them would want to go outside of the Philippines. So they want either to migrate or to work in another country. But then again, because we want to present all options, we really strongly highlight that we are opening local and international pathways because they need to be aware of all of that. As I was saying, of course, there's also language and review centers, especially those who want to move, because this will also help them with skills and global competencies. We are also inviting government and regulatory bodies who will provide direction and standards for them. We are also inviting professional organizations and credible associations who offer mentorship and guidance. Connected to, moving abroad, we are also inviting immigration firms because, especially now, there's a lot of misinformation. So they can actually directly from these companies. There will also be in the ecosystem stakeholders. Who are they? We are also inviting fintech institutions, those who actually want to support life decision of nurses, health and wellness companies who actually promote nurses' well-being, real estate partners who will be helping them plan their futures, service providers who could simplify transactions. I mean, everything related really to the ecosystem will be there in one event.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like a lot of people. It sounds like half the country is going to
Yes.
be there.
So we make sure actually, Edric, yes, we agree. It's a vast ecosystem. But then again, we wanted to make sure that they have choices, but we don't want it to be diluted into one ecosystem stakeholder only. So there's also going to be a limit. Like there's a cap for a number of booths or exhibitors who will be taking up a certain ecosystem stakeholder.
Okay. And one thing I do want to ask is that with regards to the exhibition in itself, I believe that there's got to be some sort of like deal making platform. There's got to be a networking platform there. I mean, with so many people there, right? And you're trying to connect this ecosystem. I mean, on your side as the event organizer or the community manager in this case, what is the biggest, I would say, point or what do you think is going to be a milestone for you in terms of your checkbox of achievements for this exhibition?
Okay, so speaking from the nursing community side, I think number one, it goes both ways. I believe that this will bring in a lot of attendees because number one, it's for free. And they have to realize when they realize that this event is truly for them, they will be coming. We're targeting 5,000 attendees all throughout the 2 day event. And the other side, we want to bring in credible and legitimate organizations and companies who can actually really face the nurses, answer all their questions directly with no shields or no credentials. Because that's exactly what we want. We want to be able to give the nurses answers to their questions because oftentimes, nurses are left with thinking what will be my choice without knowing which department or what company to ask exactly. So usually they just go with the flow. When they hear somebody, oh, this X agency brought me to this X country. But then again, they're not quite sure because not everybody takes the time to check the credibility of these companies. So I think it goes both ways. Attendees, likewise, I want them all to get, the total perspective of all their pathways and opportunities. So they get a clear idea of what paths to take. And hopefully, what they take out when they get home and process all the information that they get from the event is that they can actually make really sound and successful career decisions. On the part of course, on the part of the organizations who will be joining as exhibitors and sponsors, we actually want them to also showcase information regarding their companies. And sometimes there's still, even though competitors will also be there, honestly, to put it, they will also be having competitors there. But then again, they are actually there to talk to nurses and share how they really are, what products do they represent. Let's say, just for example, okay, so this X company is bringing nurses to, let's say, Germany. So this particular company can actually share information about how it is, what are the applications needed, what needs to be completed, how is life working in Germany, feedback from nurses who are actually there through their agency, and then helping these nurses really decide. At the same time, promoting their company as well because we're ultimately all here for nurses. But then again, of course, we have to highlight that nurses will be getting something as well as our exhibitors and sponsors because this should be mutually beneficial. But of course, our main target is for nurses themselves.
I see, I see. Okay, that's really good because bringing that up is because we really need to be very clear about how business leaders or business owners would benefit from this show. And I think going down there for an awareness thing is useful. At the same time, right, there has to also be some commercial output or at least commercial benefit for some of them. So I really do see an opportunity here, right, for business leaders to actually go down and number one, study the market a little bit more in depth, right? I think that's why this show is going to be very powerful for them because it's not just about what's happening in the Philippines, but rather what our so-called import of talent in our nursing segment is going to be for our countries as well. So that being said, right? I mean, look, I'm in Singapore. I can't always go there. Or what about if I'm based in Japan or if I'm based in Holland, for example, and I really wanted to meet some of these people. I wanted to learn more. What can I do?
Actually, that's a good question, Edric, because we did see that possibility. Again, we're also we're highlighting that we're offering local and international opportunities. Local opportunities, are easy. They're personal here in the Philippines. But for other organizations or companies who are interested to join us, but for some reason do not see themselves flying in the Philippines, we actually have a managed global booth package. Now, what does this entail? This is actually a package offered for international exhibitors who cannot travel to the Philippines due to restrictions or conflicts in schedules. So what would happen is we created this package so you are still in the event, but we will be providing you personnel that you will be training. So the personnels will be coming from us, the organizers, so they can orient the personnels assigned to them for for a day, sorry, for one whole day. So this personnel can actually, the representative can share a little bit about the company, the services and the products that they offer. So they are still there even if they are from afar. They're still getting a booth the same way. There's actually two options. There's a solo booth, and can actually two companies can share one booth. Of course, it depends on their budget. But basically, that's the idea for companies who do not see themselves flying in due to conflicts of schedule or restrictions. We actually offer that now.
Well, that's really interesting. I think that's a brilliant idea because, like this, companies can kind of have a local ambassador almost, right? A local representative, which I'm assuming that they could connect with and train them from now till the show day, and that's how they can actually be featured over there.
Yes, and with that, they will also be sharing their brochures that these personnel can actually give out for attendees who are passing by and want to learn more about their company or their product.
What do you think are the key showcases that people can look forward to when they do visit?
Okay, so basically this is an expo, Edric. So the attendees are free to roam around at their own time to all the booths. But then again, one of the co-founders, our US nurse co-founder, we actually have an on-floor theater. So this is a small stage in an area of the event where there is a specialization program that will be highlighted and will be headed by the co-founder. So he will be talking about four specializations and how to transition if you are here in the Philippines, what requirements, what certifications do you need if you want to pursue a specialized field of nursing in the US. This will highlight our nursing, geriatric, medical surgical, and psychiatric mental health. Also, there are speaking slots available for companies joining as sponsors. So aside from having their booth, they actually have the opportunity to speak during their slot on the on-floor theater to talk more about their company or at least introduce that and then later on point these attendees to their booth. So for more information, they can actually proceed to their booth.
So for this particular show, I think you've done a lot of preparation already. The event is going to be happening very soon in June. So I do want to know, what do you think are in this year you're going to be expecting people to be talking about when it comes to the problems that they're bringing to the table?
More so, I think, for the nurses.
Mm.
We want to address because honestly, this is actually their time to ask questions, not so much for the exhibitors. The exhibitors and sponsors are there to answer. I mean, I am very much exposed to social media, Facebook nursing groups, or we actually have our own. Nurture and actually has our own international online community, Alagarin. And there's actually a lot of questions on a daily basis. And they're actually they actually just repeat their questions. I mean, for some reason, again, I'd have to highlight information in the nursing community is somewhat still guarded or incomplete. So I think this is actually the opportunity. This is actually our goal, mainly for nurses to ask all the questions and get all the answers. This has been an issue for the longest time, and I believe this is actually the time for nurses to actually hear answers right from people who are actually credible and legitimate in answering all their questions.
I mean, that's amazing because I can only imagine the solutions providers, the sheer number of people that are going to be asking the questions, going to their booths and just asking, things. I'm guessing it's going to be about progression. It's going to be about security. There's relocation. There's going to be education, placement. I have no idea whether they even ask for group transfer discounts. This will be amazing.
Yes, I mean, even to the basic questions about there's a company joining us as a sponsor, early sponsor, data flow. As simple question as does the data flow document or verification does it expire? I mean, that's a common question that's being asked. But then again, the answer is quite obvious, but still a lot of nurses are asking. So, simple basic questions can be answered and then, progressing, you're right, to a vast list of questions that each booth, each pathway can actually answer. But then again, what we want to take away from this event is they won't be deciding right away. That's why this is not a recruitment event, because you don't persuade them to choose a path right off the bat. They are there to actually hear all options out and go home, digest all this information and think about it. They can actually, if they're quite interested in a particular company, they can look through it through our directory wall in in our website, and they could actually connect moving forward. So this is not a transactional event. We're actually looking at making this a yearly event. And then again, even if this is a yearly event, we want to make sure that we're opening the communication. So attendees are free to reach out to the companies that they're quite interested to pursue with no pressures as to what path they're going to take. We're also bringing in support organizations and local and abroad. We're actually in the final talks with Philippine Nurses Association, because it's also time for the Philippine nurses to hear opportunities locally.
Oh.
And there are also support associations outside of the Philippines, mainly composed of Filipinos, who are also supporting this event and voicing out. And you see that this is actually the right time to have an event for nurses.
Christine, where can everybody get more information about this event?
Okay, we actually have a website. It's NOWExpo.com. We're also in LinkedIn. We're also in Facebook. So do give us a message in any of the social medias that we have, and we would be happy to answer any questions that they may have.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience before we close up?
I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Edric, for featuring NOW Expo Asia. This is really a great help in promoting marketing wise an event like this. We really think this is the first of its kind, and being an inaugural event, we wanted to get the information out for nurses to actually come in and join us, and for exhibitors and sponsors to reach out and to be there for the nurses. Here in the Philippines, the location that we chose, it's quite near to the south and the north, so both accessible. And I also have to highlight that Grab is our mobility partner, so that also helps in bringing in the nurses and attendees to the event.
Yeah, I cannot imagine. Like, let's just say, for example, we're looking at 70% of them are going to be nurses. That is what, over 3,000 registered nurses are going to be in attendance. So whoever is interested in exhibiting, sponsoring, or even just, getting to rub shoulders and get to know more of the nursing community, you should be there at the show. Okay, lots and lots of people to be there. So take note of the dates in June, and also make sure that you're there at NOW Expo 2026. Okay, that being said, thanks so much, Christine. Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you, Edric.
Okay, so we'll see you at the next one. Bye, everybody.